going to be that 5 to 10 story multifamily construction where I think whole form framing is really going to explode. Insurance rates, safety, all of that stuff is pushing everything to non-combustible construction. We're doing a lot of assisted livings right now, so codes are moving towards non-combustible construction. So assisted livings, for example, you have people that can't self-preserve. So now codes have started to adopt it. They're not going to put their lives at risk. So more and more of that's happening. And then also, as far as the codes are concerned, really 85 feet has kind of been the standard for wood construction, and that has to do with fire equipment, ladder trucks. That's kind of the spot where they can still get with a fire truck and fight the fire if there is. So after that, you really push into the non-combustible construction, and that's where I think that sweet spot is. And again, population is increasing and land prices are increasing, so the answer is to go up.
Hey Scott, welcome to Steel Framing Connections podcast. Do you want to just introduce yourself and a little bit about your steel framing journey?
Yeah, so my name is Scott Fournier. I am the owner and founder of Integrated Steel. My journey is I'm a registered structural engineer. Done that for 30 years. Started out in the consulting world. Did that for about 8 years. Then I joined up, partnered with some architects, and we founded a multidisciplinary architectural firm. And then actually a FRAMECAD employee of yours right now introduced me to the FRAMECAD machines, Tim Lindquist. He had brought them to me as to do some consulting engineering for him. He bought his first machine, and from there fell in love with it and ended up buying 3 machines myself and started a factory just over 6 years ago.
So Tim's in the office right now. I actually just saw him and I told him I'm jumping on the podcast with you, and he said that guy loves a challenge. A lot of people shy away from challenges in terms of design and what can be done with the machines. And he said, ask him about that. So yeah, what's he talking about?
Yeah, no, for me, again, my background is engineering and structural engineering, so I went into that field because I'm a problem solver. You bring something to me, whether if it's a problem, that's where I thrive and that's where I get enjoyment. So yeah, any complex designs, anything that we can that people bring to me, whether it's engineering related or any other problems, that's what I love to do. And FrameCAD really allows me the opportunity to do that. There's a lot of things that those machines can do that nobody knows about, and nobody understands the capabilities of how to do it and how to manipulate those machines. Um, and frankly, there's a lot of people that you don't want to do that. You know, it's nice to have, again, I piggyback off of my structural engineering knowledge because we're able to do things that most people wouldn't dare try because they can't prove it out, or they can't ensure that it's going to be a safe design, where that's what we do and that's what we love to do. And that's what drives me, gets me up every day, is the challenge of projects. Everyone's different.
He said, you love hearing it can't be done.
Yep, I love hearing that. Tim knows me well. I love hearing it can't be done. And sometimes we get it done. Sometimes I have to just,
You
put my
learn.
tail between my legs
Sometimes,
and say, yep,
sometimes you learn.
yep, you learn. Yeah, from every experience that we do, whether we succeed or partially succeed or fail miserably, we learn from that experience and we move on and we know how to do it better next time.
So where does integrated steel solutions focus? What are your types of customers?
So we're in the commercial world. That big big commercial projects is where I lived when I was in my structural consulting days and architecture days. So multifamily, apartments, sports venues, high rises. We've done all of that. So that's where I've chosen to live. I know a lot of people use FRAMECAD technology for the residential world. We've shied away from that just because it's busy. It's busy work. I'd rather do big structures and produce large projects than deal with maybe the occasional homeowner or husband and wife combination. So that's where we've lived.
Awesome. Um, and what region do you serve? Like, what's your market that you serve in terms of geography?
Yeah, so we're located kind of right in the Midwest, northern Midwest. We're about 75, 80 miles south of the Canadian border. But our geography, again, Midwest, so there's probably 4 or 5 Midwestern states that we handle between North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Minnesota. We get into Illinois and Wisconsin. But we have shipped product to specialty contractors from New York City to Los Angeles. So I think right now I probably have shipped our panels or done engineering of our systems in probably 30, 35 states, 38, 30, between 35 and 38.
Are you doing the structure or the facades, or what part of the buildings are you doing?
So a lot of times we're doing, yeah, a lot of times we're doing the facade, so the exterior framing. That's the more complex structural framing that we do. Interiors, we're usually avoiding that. Stick framing oftentimes is probably a more efficient way to do it, just because of the variability of interiors, changes in doors, changes in layouts, things like that. But typically, your exterior facade, your envelope is pretty set when you move into a construction project. So that's where we want to live. But and then from an engineering standpoint, we're doing delegated cold form design for projects all over the country. But we also do full SEOR, structural engineer record work for buildings as well. Typically, we're wanting to do all cold form buildings. So we're really pushing the industry to do load bearing CFS, total CFS projects rather than, there's a lot of them are a mixture of hot rolled steel and CFS or precast and CFS and all of those different systems. And sometimes, a lot of times that makes sense, but there's a lot of buildings and a lot of opportunities out there that where cold form framing is the answer for 100% of the structure.
Yeah, where is that kind of sweet spot for cold form steel in your eyes?
In my eyes, it's that mid-rise construction, which I'm going to call probably between 4 to 8, 5 to 10 stories is where I really think cold form steel is going to shine. It's able to replace post-tension slab construction, heavy steel construction. For those, you get in that 4-story, 3-story wood framing, from a cost standpoint, from an upfront cost standpoint. I won't say a total project cost standpoint, but from an upfront, wood construction kind of lives there. So we really have a big opportunity, I think, in the United States right now, and probably all over the world, as land prices start to increase to get performers to work out. It's going to be that 5 to 10 story multifamily construction where I think whole form framing is really going to explode.
So are you seeing that the market's kind of asking for steel framing now, or are you seeing that these jobs are done in timber and you're converting them? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
We're converting a few insurance rates, safety, all of that stuff is pushing everything to non-combustible construction. We're doing a lot of assisted livings right now, so codes are now moving towards non-combustible construction. So assisted livings, for example, you have people that can't self-preserve. So now codes have started to adopt. We're going to have non-combustible construction. We're not going to put their lives at risk. So more and more of that's happening. And then also, as far as the codes are concerned, really 85 feet has kind of been the standard for wood construction, and that has to do with um, fire equipment, ladder trucks. That's kind of the spot where they can still get with a fire truck and fight the fire if there is. So after that, you really push into the non-combustible construction. Um, and that's where I think that sweet spot is. And again, population is increasing and land prices are increasing, so the answer is to go up. Um, and kind of you get into that high rise construction, that's a completely different animal. But there's a lot of those are the big cities, those are the big metro areas, but there's a lot of areas where that doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to get to that 5 to 10 stories. So that's where Cold Form shines.
And it sounds like you're, from your background being an engineer, like you understand the importance of the whole design for manufacturing, DfMA. Is that something that you value as a business?
Yeah, absolutely. It's frankly one of the cornerstones of our business. Um, you know, we're able to economize our design. We take a building design that we get from an engineer that they kind of ran the engineering as a one size fits all design, again, to get through the design and move on and get on to the next project. We're taking those projects from our clients who are traditionally framing contractors or general contractors, and we're able to take and economize that. If there's some sizes that maybe that our machines don't run, we're able to convert those over so that our machines can run, so that we can panelize, and just be so much more efficient in the construction process. Try to cut their construction times down. So that is our bread and butter. That's what we do. That's why we have a staff of I think we're at 14 or 15 between engineers and technical, I say, drafters to be able to do that. That's our secret sauce.
Do your potential customers understand that whole DfMA and the importance of it, or is it a bit of an education from your side? And if so, how do you educate them on this process?
It's definitely been an education. A lot of them don't. A lot of them are coming through obviously traditional building methods. This is a new way of construction, and as you know, probably the rest of the world knows, construction people are, it's the old dog new tricks kind of thing, and they don't love to do it. Um, so it is a lot of education. I actually enjoy educating them, the people that want to be educated. Not everybody does. There's people that just don't want to do it, but people that want to listen and hear and think of a better way to do it. Um, I love doing that. And again, having the professional engineer label, um, my education, my experience lends a lot of credibility. So I do get people to listen. They gotta talk to me first and hear how I talk and start to understand, because I've made it a career out of understanding construction, not just punching numbers into my calculator, doing engineering, but I spent 5 years working construction, pouring concrete, doing flat work while I was in college. Then I worked with a structural consulting company doing nothing but structural design on big buildings. And then I transitioned to the architectural side to really understand the envelope systems and safety and egressing and all of the things that really structural engineers don't necessarily care about normally. And I've kind of brought all of those kind of that education, that experience, full circle into what we're trying to do, manufacturing, and taking all of those pieces and really trying to educate as many people as I can, um, on what we stand for, what we're able to do.
Do you have any ideas how we could educate more people? Because I know, at FrameCAD, we're trying to get more and more people adopting cold form steel, but I'm just wondering if you have any ideas how we can simplify the message, or, what can we do?
I wish I knew that answer. I wish it was an easy answer. It takes time. It takes time to build up trust. Again, people are comfortable with what they've done, especially when it's all money driven. Are you going to win this project? A lot of times in construction design, it's a race to the bottom. The cheapest guy is going to get the project, and so they're going to go with what they're comfortable doing. Um, I think continuing to educate as many as you can, the younger generation, obviously, starting to get those guys thinking along the DFMA path. It'll start to it'll start to bleed in and everyone's going to start to get it. Otherwise, keep advertising, keep keep pushing the message, keep showcasing the projects that are going this method. Um, and hopefully the audience, as the younger audience gets a little older and a little grayer, they'll start to adopt it. I'm 52, but you got those 60-year-olds that are still running construction companies or running or superintendents, and they're not on LinkedIn or they're not on somewhere checking out and seeing all of these things. They're like, yeah, I'm coasting, I'm done, I don't need to worry about it. But again, you keep educating those younger people. You stay on social media. You do everything that everybody else does to um, get their message out. Then I think it's going to snowball. And I think the snowball started. We're rolling down the hill. It's getting bigger, so
Yeah, I think you're
it's
right.
happening.
I think you're right. And I think it is just education and sharing stories like you're sharing today. So I think that just helps other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about like objections that you have from maybe people on site or, you know, people just used to traditional materials like timber? Is there anything you guys can do up front or in the kind of process that just helps alleviate any of those concerns?
Again, we do our best to try to do that, but there's so many trades that are impacted on that decision, whether it's going to be timber, whether it's going to be steel, whether it's going to be concrete. You have your electricians, you have your mechanical contractors, you have your finish carpenters. So we're always trying to educate those people, but you know, I know we've lost projects in my hometown here because we had good pricing on steel, but the uh, but the finish carpenter or the drywall contractor, so it's going to take me twice as long to put trim up, and it's going to take me twice as long to do that. So again, trying to educate all of those trades and get people to understand that it's not any different and it's actually easier, especially when your material stays straight, doesn't warp, isn't changing. You're not going back and making your trim. It's so much easier, but that's a big part of our battle.
Cool. And then now moving to the manufacturing side, what does your kind of design to manufacturing workflow look like?
We're getting projects brought to us from contractors, from framing contractors. We don't do our own install, so we get multiple contractors coming to us with a project. We'll take that project, we'll evaluate it. Does this make sense to be panels? We're not going to push panels on somebody when it makes more sense to stick frame, you know. So we try to evaluate the complexity. From that point in time, we decided that panels are the right fit. We will actually do all of their engineering for them in house, so we can dictate our schedules and do that. So we'll bring that in house. We'll run the engineering. We'll submit shop drawings. We'll kind of do all the material takeoffs for them, and then what we'll do is we'll create our panel shop drawings from that engineering set. Um, from that point in time, we're coordinating constantly with our clients. How do you want to frame it? How do what sequencing, how do you want to go around the building? When are you starting? And then we'll design our panel, um, our models, and our panel process around that. And from that, we'll send our CNC files to the machines. We have 3 machines. We can run 3 and 5/8 all the way up to 12. From there, we'll run out the material and we will stage it all and build it in the order, obviously the reverse order of how they want to build it on site. So run it out, stage it. We have assembly guys that take that, build it, and then we store it in. We have a large storage area where we store it, and then we'll deliver it, typically on demand.
And is that FrameCAD software that you're using to do the engineering?
So yeah, so we use FrameCAD software. Some of the engineering that we'll do in there, a lot of times I'll use it for estimating. A lot of um, again, our more complex or heavier commercial projects. Um, we have other softwares that um, we've kind of found that maybe flow a little bit better. We can, we're all about the efficiency and understanding that the the software, the more things you put into a software, you have to start making some conservative assumptions and doing things just because you can't, one software can't do it all. Even though everybody would like to think so, but um, you can't be good at everything. So again, we have softwares that we use engineering wise, and we'll engineer it that way. And then we do use FrameCAD for all of our modeling, all of our panels, and all of our production files.
Do you take a manufacturing mindset to the way you guys do business? It's not just like construction under a roof. It's really that kind of manufacturing mindset. Is that how you guys do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need to make it efficient so we can get them in and get them out. And um, so the guys on site, we're trying to take the complexity out of the field personnel, the, the skilled trades and craftsmen. It's something that's falling off. So again, we have this manufacturing mindset where it's factory workers. We don't necessarily need the skilled carpenter trades to be able to do it. And then again, we design it that way. Um, we deliver it to the floor that way, and then we deliver it to the field that way to allow a lot of these contractors just to again simply erect, put it together, follow the instructions rather than having to do a lot of the complex thinking and figuring while on site.
Is the versatility of cold form steel, you mentioned you like the challenges of projects. Is versatility something that um, helps you guys deliver what your customers are looking for?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I just had a project show up today that again, what I tell people is if I can draw it, we can fabricate it in the FrameCAD machine. So it's 100% versatile. Uh, I don't everything that comes out of that machine is consistent. It's to the millimeter. I don't have to worry about pre-cutting and pre-making something and then setting it outside and then we get a rain or something like that happens and all of a sudden everything's warped and moving around, and then we have to throw that away and do it again. So it's from that standpoint, yeah, it has the ultimate flexibility. It's lightweight. That's the other big thing that cold form steel offers is, we can build these bigger assemblies and they're easy to handle. So we don't necessarily always have to have a crane on site. We can do it with forklifts, take three or four guys and you can lift these things around. So trying to get into tight spaces, trying to get into, tight construction sites, things like that are all so much easier due to the versatility of the cold form framing. Again, if I can draw it, we can build it.
What are some of the projects that you're most proud of?
So in my hometown, we did a large hospital, 7-story hospital project. When we were asked to come on board, I'm in a very cold climate. Our nice construction season is maybe 5 months at best, and then you're dealing with cold, frigid temperatures, and so ultimately, the faster you can get these buildings enclosed, the better. So the contractor had come to us on this hospital project, and they wanted to get one. I think I think the way they told us is they wanted to get 2 floors enclosed so that they could temp heat that and they could get all of their subcontractors in, everybody doing the interior framing. Obviously in the hospital you have all kinds of systems that have to go in there. Um, so they gave us about a month to do that and we got about 2 or 3 weeks into it and they had that floor done and they said, okay, we've changed our mind. We want to enclose the whole 7-story building before winter. And all of a sudden we went and that is what we did. Um, so that was really exciting to see that. It wasn't a very early on project. It was one of those where they asked us. Um, I'm new in business, and so I said, yeah, sure, we can do it, and we figured out how to do it. So that was an exciting one. We also do some exciting projects. We have a company that I helped found in one of my previous when I was at my architecture firm, but we do LED video boards. So if you look at like Times Square in New York or any sporting venue, anything like that, you see these big, big video screens. Well, all of those big video screens start out as little, you know, essentially a TV. So you have to populate all these little pieces into one big screen. So we actually work with company that assembles those, and we build all the backup framing for that because of the precision nature of the product that comes out of the FRAMECAD machines. We got video boards that are hanging in Times Square, New York. We got video boards that are hanging in LA, stadiums outside different places. So those have been kind of fun, challenging, unique projects that we've done. But we've done several schools. We've done several assisted livings. Um, those are, schools are always fun, of course, and assisted livings, strip malls, things like that. Those just come and go. But yeah, those have been some of the fun ones that we've done.
And knowing you like a challenge, is there any big projects that come to mind where you've learnt a lot of lessons, and what did you learn?
Some of the lessons that we've learned again on that hospital job is, it's tolerances, it's construction tolerances, things like that. What works on the computer sometimes doesn't always necessarily work out in the field. So you have to learn how to adapt to what's going on. And that really, that hospital project's one, but that really goes for any project. We're always trying to adapt to you know, who the installer is, what the conditions are going to be. We really think about that. So that's one of the big things I learned on projects. We started out our company just doing bare framing panels. Didn't want to get into fully sheathed or fully finished panels right away until we kind of mastered our crafts on the framing side of things. But now we've started to do more and more sheathing projects, fully finished projects. It's easy to get steel panels to work out because everything gets covered up. So anything you have to do after the fact or modify, that gets covered up and nobody sees it. But if you have to modify finishes and things like that, we're always learning lessons there every day.
Awesome. And if anyone's listened today and wants to reach out to you guys, is there a website they can come to?
Yeah. So yes, we have a website, www.integratedsteelinc.com. You can kind of go on there on our website and see the projects we've done. Our focus is on commercial, retail centers, medical office buildings. We've done casinos, sports venues, again, focused on that cladding aspect of the building, specialty assemblies for architectural features, things like that. What I say to people is reach out, go through our website or reach out directly to me, send us the project. We'll give you an honest opinion if it makes sense for us to do it in panels or if stick framing is the better option there. But yeah, like I said earlier, I'm not going to force panels on anybody because that doesn't accomplish what we're trying to do here. And we're trying to establish partnerships with our clients. If you want a long-term relationship and a partnership and someone that's going to really advocate for you, please reach out. That's what I'm looking for.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for jumping on the podcast today. Yeah, some really good intel there, and I think it will really just help educate the market on why CFS. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you, Matt, for having me.
Thanks for listening to Steel Framing Connections. If today's conversation sparked a new idea, share it with your team and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. To explore the technology, people and projects shaping the future of steel framing, visit framecad.com. Let's reframe how you think about building.